Chennai. This is a part of the special lecture series on pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, since we have the auspicious occasion of Krishna Janmashtami approaching. This is the fourth session of the lecture series. IYS is ISKCON Youth Services of Chennai Temple. It's a forum created by women, for women, and of women. Here we discuss and learn to practically apply ancient spiritual wisdom in our modern contemporary lives. We conduct several sessions. On Fridays, we have Bhagavad Gita sessions in Tamil. On Saturdays, we have specially curated sessions focusing on the the contemporary problems faced by women and the spiritual solutions for the same. They will resume once the Janmashtami lecture series are done. On Sundays, we have Telugu sessions in the morning and Srila Prabhupada book reading session in the evening. We are also available on WhatsApp, YouTube, Telegram, and Facebook. Link will be posted in the chat window. Please do join if you are not a part of the group. We share spiritually inspiring messages, darshan pictures, and announcements for various programs, classes, events, and festivals in this group. If you have any questions during the session, please post them in the chat window and the facilitator would take up your queries. And as usual, please do fill the feedback forms towards the end of the session. We value your suggestions and this will help us serve you better. Shri Radha Govinda Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji. Shri Radha Govinda Dasi is the founder and president of MAPS, Mayapur Astrological and Psychosomatic Sacred Sciences, and director of Bhakti Marriage System, a division of ISKCON Congregational Development Ministry. She lectures in 5 Indian languages as well as English, Italian, and Spanish. She authored 7 books on topics from astrology to self development to relationships. She specializes in personality analysis, psychotherapy, and career counseling. She traveled and taught in the US, in 6 Latin American countries, Europe, South and West Africa, the Middle East, China, Indonesia, Singapore, and so on. Uh, so I'm looking forward to hearing from you, Mataji. We are all looking forward to hearing from you. Very excited. So over to you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Anuttama Chitra Devi, and thank you very much for the organizers of this event. I feel honored and humbled to be in the presence of all of you. I'm feeling very happy and connected, especially thank you to all of you who are visible on video. It makes me feel like I'm there in person with you. I'm seeing Kunja, Harival Kunja. So nice to see you. Yeah. So if it's possible for you to switch on your video, it really helps me to connect and look at you, your faces. However, if you're not able to, it is fine. But if you're able to like utilize the function reactions on the bottom, and then you can raise hands because I may be asking you certain questions as an interactive session. So I want you to be actively participating. So I will start with a prayer to my spiritual master. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukhakaroti Vachalam Panguram Gayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Mande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namini Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayani Gaurakata Damadaya Nagaragramadayani Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatani Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravaktaranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, welcome and thank you to all of you. So today's topic is letting Krishna dance his way into our hearts. So obviously, I want to start talking with what prevents, or why do we prevent Krishna from dancing his way into our hearts? So we're going to be going through certain very, very practical experiences of our life, of our different phases of life, and what actually happens. First, I just want to share with you like a couple of images of the two possibilities or options we all have. The first option is this image here is a very, very famous pastime for those of you who are familiar with Krishna and his childhood pastimes. He's here dancing on a multi-hooded snake, and very gracefully, very beautifully. He's having this beautiful smile, and he's happy, and he is subduing this huge demon called Kāliya. So this represents, see, all the different pastimes or different stories or leelas in the history of our ancient Vedic sciences. They represent a specific practical application lesson in our lives. So this particular leela, this particular pastime, also has very, very important lessons in our life. So today we will be discussing how there are two ways that Krishna will dance, but it's just either he will dance like he danced on the heads of Kāliya, smashing it, because Kāliya represents certain not so good habits and qualities of human mind. We will be talking about it. And Kali also represents dishonesty and not being loyal and being envious. Snake envy is a huge connection there. So we'll be looking into our blocks in letting Krishna or letting God dance his way into our hearts. There's a very nice book by Kalakanta Prabhu, Carl Woodham. He says, The God Who Dances. And in that, there are scientists, there are great philosophers and modern thinkers who say that, oh, you know what, I would believe in a God that dances. So it's like, because there's two conceptions of God, right? One conception of God is like this impersonal void or this light which is shining, and that's God, the power, the energy, the higher power, the source of everything. But it's not human looking, because we are human. I have my hands that hurt, and I have my eyebrows that grow everywhere, and I have my hair growing out of control. So we think that this human form is imperfect, and so how can God have that? But actually, we are made in the image of God. We are like replicas, or we are like photocopies of image of God. So there are three levels of understanding God. For those of you who are familiar with Bhagavad Gita, those of you who have a little knowledge about different, God, it can do anything, right? I mean, that's like, that means God. His possibility is unlimited. So he can manifest in the form of light, Brahman, it's called in Bhagavad Gita. There is an elaborate description of that light as God. And then he's also in our hearts, in everyone's hearts, in every living entity. And then he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead that you're seeing here in the image. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. He wears yellow dhoti, and he wears peacock feather in his head, and he wears beautiful jewelry, and he dances. So today we will be discussing about the God who dances. And let's start. I just want to ask all of you a question, okay? And you can use that button there to raise your hands, or those of you who are on video, I can see you raising your hands. So either way works, whatever it is, however you want to participate, but please participate. It helps to discuss relevantly. And so my first question is, how many of us have felt suppressed or controlled too much, frustrated, upset with our parents? How many of us have an experience of being Okay, you can use your reaction button and press raise hand like I have done. You can see it's not video. And if you are on video, you can just do that. Okay. Okay. How many of us have had the experience of father or mother or both making us feel like they are basically smashing us instead of loving us and nourishing us? How many of you has had a problem with that? Okay. Not so many of you have raised your hand. Okay, so some of you are raising now. Okay, just to get an idea. Okay, as soon as you raise your hand, you will come to the first page and it will become easier for me to see how many of you have. Okay, good. Next question is, how many of us feel threatened by our own mind, and we feel smashed by our own mind? This is the next question. I'm going to have my hand raised because for every question I'm going to ask, my answer is definitely a yes. Okay, so there's more number of hands for that one. So those of you who didn't raise hands for the previous one, you're very lucky because you've had better parents than some of us. Okay. How many of us, I mean, don't be shy. We're not going to look at your name and remember you raised hands for this. This is a, I promise you, I won't remember. I'll just look at the hands. How many of you felt some sort of resentment or anger with God for the way things were not working out in our lives? How many of us felt some sort of disappointment or resentment towards God? Why is my life this way? Okay. Slowly, the hands are being seen. Yeah. Yeah. Good. So yeah, these were the basic questions. Now we can put our hands down. See, there are different types of karmas. One type of karma is prarabdha karma, something that manifests as a result of our previous activities. And we cannot really change that. It's something that is already manifested. And that is like parents. We deserved certain kind of parents. We got those kind of parents and we had certain kind of experiences through those parents. But there is something also called aprarabdha karma. Aprarabdha means not yet manifest. Okay, so the not yet manifest karma is what is very tricky. Something we experienced as a child. I'm going to show you. If you could kindly mute your microphone, it will be beneficial because if in case you're having some noise in the background, it interferes. So kindly mute your microphones. Okay, so I was saying parents. Why I'm talking about parents here is Aham bija pradapita, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. He says, I am the seed-giving father to all the living entities. So regardless of what kind of parents we had, God is our eternal seed-giving father. He is our well-wisher, the father. And therefore, if we did have good parents, it's because of the mercy of God. And if we didn't have great parents and they were dysfunctional, it's because we should take more shelter of the eternal father. In any case, we should take shelter of the eternal father because he is the one who protects us, nourishes us. Our biological father may have had certain limitations in protecting our emotions, in protecting our nature, in protecting our enthusiasm. See, protection is not just, as women, right? We always hear, you should be protected, you should be protected, you should be protected. But that instruction is not for us. This instruction is meant for the man, that women must be protected. It's not an instruction meant for the woman. And protection is not just we're put inside a room and then we are locked up. You know, we imagine ourselves, I mean, we are all experiencing lockdown. So imagine somebody puts us inside a very nice room, locks us up, and takes the key and goes away. We feel frustrated, right? We feel suffocated. So fortunately, God is that father who doesn't lock us up in the room. He doesn't just take away all our free will, and he doesn't just say, this is good for you, so you should be doing only this. He gives us the free will. So through that free will, we become like a lost child. We go out in the streets, we become like hippies. We go after substitutes. We go looking for whatever was missing in our childhood. Maybe our parental affection was missing, and so we are always looking for it. And as soon as I see a lot of young girls here too, so you might relate to that. As soon as some guy says, oh, you have beautiful eyes, no, we immediately become like, oh my god, he's appreciating me, right? We immediately fall for it. And or if the guy says something like, oh, you have a very beautiful voice, or anything, we immediately fall for it. And those of us who may not have had much appreciation from our parents, we're more susceptible to becoming easily influenced by this kind of energies. And why I'm saying these two things, one thing is about getting validation from somebody, and especially as younger women, we want validation from an opposite sex. You know, it's like subtle thing. Why I'm speaking about it is because it does come under the head of the snake being smashed category. And then the other one, the other consideration I'm keeping bringing up about Krishna being the father, God being the eternal seed giving father, is because most of our qualities that block us from becoming happy, from growing, from progressing, is because of specific dysfunctionalities that we may have gone through as children, and due to certain dysfunctionality that comes due to our parents being incomplete or imperfect and limited. These two things are very important in today's discussion, because these are two blocks that stops Krishna and stops God from entering into our hearts and dancing his way into our hearts. Now, Krishna, I want to show you this list of meanings. Maybe I should give a little introduction before I show you this list. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was an amazing mystic saint. He lived in Nadia in Navadvip, West Bengal. He was actually a district magistrate. He was he wrote hundreds of books. He wrote poetry, and he connected all these leelas, all these pastimes, because we usually hear, right, there's a lot of these harikatha happening. We hear a lot of pastimes and songs, different people singing it. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he specifically tells us where is our self-development in all these leelas. So I found this very interesting list where it gives, especially about Kāliya, because Kāliya is something we're discussing today. So about Kāliya, you can see my screen. Number 15, you can see number 15 is Kāliya, which comes in chapter 16 of the Krishna's Leelas. He represents the quality of crookedness. Okay, so what does that mean? Also, it means anything illegal and dishonesty, bent out of shape. So these qualities are like poison. This is like an addiction. This is like covering us from the love and the happiness of human existence and of that connection with Krishna. And you can see number 17 is also representing the qualities that Kāliya was representing the cruelty and unkindness. And when we say cruelty and unkindness, it basically arrives at envy, due to envy of other living entities. So these two qualities, envy and crookedness, these two qualities leads us to making bad decisions in our life. And it very much could be due to our upbringing, and we may feel so frustrated that we legally things are not working out for us, so we want to do things illegally. Maybe we're not getting married like we want, and so we may want to fall for these stupid words of these stupid men sometimes. And sometimes we're not honest with ourselves. We don't even like the guy, or we don't even like hanging out with certain kind of friends, but we want to fit in, we want to belong, so we are dishonest with ourselves. So we become crooked minded, and we like thinking in a, being bent out of shape, trying to fit in, trying to belong. We become like Kāliya, like a multi-hooded snake, running after validation, running after a sense of belonging in places that don't fulfill us. It's not just about, hey, don't do sinful activities, don't talk to boys, don't go after boys. It's not just that. The point is, why are you doing it? What is your need? What is your intention? What is your because every desire you might be having has a healthy need behind it. But we shouldn't just suppress and kill our desires and say, oh, you stupid mind, we shouldn't become again crooked and dishonest and show to everybody I am like a saint, I'm a sadhu, but then internally we are really struggling and suffering. When that happens is when Krishna dances in on our heads and smashes our pride. Okay, I'm going to stop the screen share. At this point, I really want you all, if you have like a pen and a paper, or just close your eyes and just think about your life. Okay, just think about patterns that you might have had. Let's start thinking about friends. Do you have friends? Or did you have friends in the past? What kind of friends did you attract? And were you struggling to become, somehow fit in and somehow be part of a group where maybe repeatedly you were being humiliated, or they were speaking of things that really didn't interest you, but you still wanted to remain there. Somebody's having fun, that's good, but just meditate, meditate on your patterns of how is your social behavior. Is it honest? Is it open-minded? Or is it envy? What about envy? See, these are things only we know deep inside. How envious are we of others? How do we deal with envy? So I want you to, in the chat box, write some things, such as any question that comes to your mind. How do I deal with envy? How do I deal with not fitting in? Whatever questions might come to your mind about these few qualities we read, especially the illegal mentality, the crookedness. Okay, I will do one thing. I will paste those things in the chat box for your reference. And then you can, any questions that comes to your mind, if you feel more comfortable, you can just unmute and ask a question regarding that. But this is a meditation of how, along with this, I also want you to remember or meditate how those same group of people, like it happened to me. There was a group of people that I really struggled to belong. I tried to fit in. Their value system were really not according to my nature. They were gossiping and I really didn't like that, but I still remained. And what happened? Krishna danced on the heads of my my pride and my dishonesty, and I got smashed and I lost the group of friends, and in a very unpleasant way. And yes, Krishna danced his way, but it was very unpleasant. It was very painful because I chose to not have good association and go after association which was dishonest to myself. So think of your own life and your own circumstances. What is that fear? Why is it that we go after that? Okay, we're getting some questions here, and we have many interesting questions. How do we learn to be honest with ourselves? How to overcome envy? How to overcome being bent out of shape? How do we know when we are envious? That's a good one, right? How do we know when we are envious? Let's start with let's go with the first question. How do we learn to be honest with ourselves? First of all, it's not an overnight process. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur suggests that we must introspect. We must sit with ourselves, spend time with ourselves. Personally, what helps me to be honest with myself is journaling. Journaling goes a long way to put out my thoughts and say, this is how I feel. Today, I went to meet with my friends and I saw that she had finished one more chapter than I have finished studying, and I felt jealous. So I didn't express it to her, but I felt jealous. So that's being honest. And then I write it down. What do I do next? Learning, see, one thing to allow myself to be honest, I must also have a solution. I write my journaling saying, Dear Krishna. That's how I address the journaling. Dear Krishna, this is what happened today. This is how I felt. This is the anartha I'm facing today. Please help me release this jealousy. Please help me feel secure. So honesty comes in there are different angles of honesty, okay? If we just look at ourselves and say, oh, you're being jealous, that's being judgmental. That's like a bad parent telling a child, you're not supposed to do that. But we need to also hear what we need to do. See, I brought up about parent and how Krishna is the parent, the eternal parent. We also are a parent to ourselves. We all have this inner child inside ourselves. And this inner child is told not to be honest because we want to fit in. We want to belong, right? So we're telling the little child, no, don't be honest. No, sometimes we end up lying to ourselves. Now, how can we be honest with others? How can we be honest with Krishna? So I suggest strongly that you spend time with yourself. No, don't just always like spend time with other people. Don't just always be busy doing things. Take some time during the morning to just be with yourself, be with your thoughts. It's very uncomfortable in the beginning, but look at what's going on. Observe it. Those thoughts are not you. Krishna says that the thoughts are like, when you're looking at a river and the water is flowing, there are so many petals and dried leaves and dirt. It's also flowing, going, but it's not you. These are just passing thoughts. These are thoughts. Thoughts are not you. Feelings are not you. But it's important, especially for women, it's important to recognize our thoughts and feelings and deal with them. Okay, so that's something about how to learn to be honest with ourselves. Please give me a thumbs up or say something if those of you who asked the question, you just tell me if that's answered. And how do we learn to be honest with ourselves? Journal, spend time with yourself, and cultivate relationship with people that are honest and that you can be honest with them and they will not use it against you. How to overcome envy? There are different ways. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam suggests, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam says that Gunadhamat anukroshan gunadikan mudam lipse. It says that if we find somebody who is gunadikan, guna means quality, adikan means better. If somebody has better qualities than you have, somebody has something better than we have, we are supposed to actually feel happy for them. And we're actually supposed to look at them and say, oh, Krishna gave them this mercy because they worked for it, they deserved it. And there's a psychological truth there. If you have something I don't, let's say you have more number of followers on your YouTube channel, and if I feel negatively about it and I think, oh, she has more followers than me, I am creating a dislike towards having more followers. I'm actually creating an energy that is blocking me, blocking Krishna from entering my heart, dancing his way in my life, by blocking it and saying, more likes, more subscribers, more followers. So I'm actually blocking it out. Instead, if I say, oh, hey, she must be doing something right and she must be getting some mercy that she has better than me. I wonder what it is. I wish that Krishna blesses this person more so they can have more. So that tendency will create the more energy also for us, because we attract the energy that we are giving it out to others. Okay. And so when we see somebody gunadikan, somebody who has better something than us, we should feel happy. And then gunadamat mudam lipse. If somebody has less than us, or somebody is less qualified than us, then we must actually feel compassion. Because sometimes we look at somebody who has less than us and we kind of feel pride, we kind of feel some even envy there. But we're supposed to feel compassion. We're supposed to look at them and say, oh, Krishna, please help them so they can also be uplifted. But it's never like somebody is always higher than you in everything and somebody is always lower. Even in one person, there are some qualities superior to you and some qualities which is inferior to you. So there's never like a black and white situation. But mostly, I mean, it's very interesting that there's also something called self envy. Sometimes we envy ourselves, so we don't want to let ourselves progress, so we block our own spiritual life from this envy. So envy has a lot of Vedic stories revolve around envy. One of the instructions that in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Narad Muni, all of you may have heard Narad Muni. Narad Muni is a sage, a saint who travels all over the world without passport and visa, all over the universes, different universes. He's he's a mystic, he's an astrologer, he knows everything about everybody. And he's also a very, very clever person. He knows exactly what needs to be told to who. So he goes and he finds this little boy, 5-year-old, extremely determined, very, very dynamic, ambitious boy. He felt humiliated by the father. So he decided, I want to get a kingdom better than my father. So he goes out to the forest to go and do meditation, austerity, fasting, standing on one leg, he's like incredible austerities he wants to perform. And then he meets Narad Muni. And Narad Muni tells him one thing that's very relevant for all of us into this question. He says, stop being envious. Don't be envious. Stop being envious. Go home. And Dhruva Maharaj says, please, teacher, please, master, you're very kind you came, but please don't give me instructions that I cannot follow. So there are two qualities there. One, he's honest. The little boy is honest. He didn't just say, he didn't pretend, he didn't suppress. He just said, please give me an instruction that I can follow. I can't go home. So that's when Narad Muni says, give up envy. Don't do it from an envious mentality. Because Dhruva Maharaj's mind was like filled with that envy. I want to be better than my father. So whenever we see ourselves looking at somebody and say, I want to be better than her, I want to be able to get more followers than her, I want to get a better house than her, I want my children to be better than her children, their children. This is all nonsense. This is all something where we blocking Krishna and we are becoming like the heads of the serpent, and we are asking, begging Krishna in an indirect way, please come and smash my pride and my envy and my lust and my anger. I've become a slave of my lust and anger. Please dance on it and smash it. we can either ask Krishna and say, please, Krishna, please, Lord Nrsimhadev. Nrsimhadev is ferocious, but he's very protective. You can ask him, please gently remove my anarthas. Please gently take out all these qualities. Because otherwise, one day Krishna is going to come and then smash on all these heads that we have: pride and disloyalty and dishonesty and being illegal and being envious, all these heads that we have. Krishna is going to dance in it. But instead, how do we overcome being bent out of shape? We try to regularly, constantly take shelter of Krishna every day. Every day taking shelter of Krishna and doing something. One other thing. I mean, these are all, they may sound very modern or something, but these are all recommended by Narottam Das Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This introspection, this affirmation of what is your identity? Who are you? Because envy is based on misidentification. When, one analogy that's really powerful. Imagine we have a little hut and then our neighbor has a palace. So we are looking at the neighbor's palace and we are burning with envy. We become so angry and so envious. We take fire and we throw it on our hut and we burn down our hut. That's what envy does. We look at other people's palace and we burn our own huts. And that's when we get bent out of shape, basically. Like Kāliya, right? When Krishna did come and started dancing on the heads, he was not able to handle it. So yeah, I had a presentation about, I had this slides more about being brokenhearted and that connection, but I'm not seeing any specific questions regarding that. So I'm just going to go with the questions and see if anything leads us there. How to stop seeking validation from others? Okay. Oh, there's another question just before that. What is exactly being bent out of shape? Oh, that's a very good question. In the modern language, modern jargon, we can say, burnt out. They say this word very often, like being burnt out in relationships, being burnt out in your job, life, being burnt out in general in life. That's being bent out of shape. Going after something that's not working for us, going and hitting the wall in whatever aspect of your life. Okay, so I hope that's clear. How to stop seeking validation from others? Very, very, very important, very good question. I think the question itself is very sincere. The moment we start thinking, oh my God, I'm seeking validation from others, is already a huge step. It means we have awareness. It means we are gifted, we have blessed. That's the beginning. First thing, recognize. And I write down whenever I'm seeking validation, I'm writing down in my journal, oh, wait a minute, today I was seeking recognition or validation from this person. And I was trying to speak in this way, I was trying to dress in this way, I was trying to get this validation. Okay, so what do we do with this? So first thing is awareness. Second thing is handing it over to Krishna. Yes, Krishna, I want validation from this person. Honesty, you see, honesty, not denying. Because when we deny, it takes a lot of energy. And then we put so many masks and we're not like ourselves. So first thing is being honest, handing it to Krishna, taking it to Krishna and saying, Krishna, this is what is happening with me. I am feeling this need for validation. And then, my dear Vaishnavis, there are so many heads of the snake. And there are so many heads, so many things that I've been speaking about because I didn't get validation. I am saying a hypothetical I don't want to say you because I don't want to say you. We, okay. Some of us did not get validation from our parents, so we seek that from others. Some of us don't take shelter of God and don't take shelter of our inner self, so we're looking for somebody else to give it to us. It's a huge life lesson. A lot of us struggle with this, but Sri Vaishnavi, you're asking this question, it already means you're aware. And this is great. So it's a step-by-step thing. Association with the right people, awareness about this, reading books that help you build that self-confidence, self-esteem, that you are a servant of Krishna. One thing that helps me with the validations is also affirmations such as, I am a secure servant of Krishna. I am a confident servant of Krishna. I am a peaceful servant of Krishna. You know, this kind of the other motivations, which is like, I am confident, I am powerful, just that it never worked for me. Okay. It's very artificial. I don't really believe it. It doesn't work for me. But when I say, I am a secure servant of Krishna, I am a sincere, it's hard to say I'm a sincere servant of Krishna because usually my mind says, no, I'm not sincere. So we have to be careful in using words that are neutral. And usually when sincerity comes, I say something like, I am willing to be a sincere servant of Krishna, because that's true for me. It makes me feel honest. Maybe I will write some affirmations here just for your clarity. I am willing to be a sincere servant of Krishna. That's like one big dance step on the head less, the big dance, the kick of Krishna less. I am a secure servant of Krishna. And then I am a confident servant of Krishna. Or if you don't feel confident, you can say, I'm willing to be a confident servant of Krishna. So just expressing that willingness, it really helps to work on that validation aspect. Okay, so maybe those who you ask me question, you could just put in the reaction a hand, thumbs up or something if you're able to resonate with the answers, or any of you can just say, it's because I just want some human interaction to see you're there and I'm not putting you to sleep. Thank you, Sunidhi. Okay, so next we're taking this. What is the meaning of bent out? We took that, I already explained, being burnt out, being tired, being drained. Okay, is it genes or inbuilt? Which one, Sindhu? What is inbuilt, or I don't know which question you're referring to. Then we have, is there a difference between wanting to be like someone and being jealous or envious? Very good question, Sneha, Usha. Yes, there is a difference between wanting to be like someone and being jealous. So wanting to be like someone, usually we want to follow in the footsteps of somebody, for instance, which means we admire them, we appreciate them. It's a very thin line between appreciating somebody and wanting that thing they have. Jealousy means we want something the other person has. Okay, that's jealousy. But if you want to serve that person because you really appreciate them, that's the right way. That's Vaishnava way, Bhagavatam way. And being jealous is, again, wanting what the other person has. Envy means you don't want that person to have what they have, but you want it. So you want to be better than them. That's envy. Okay, you want to be, superior to the other person. That's envy. That makes us very dissatisfied. But when we take shelter of Krishna, when we ask Krishna to help us, over time, the more willing we are, the less the dance of Krishna on the heads of our weaknesses, it kind of becomes less and less intense. The more we get smashed and smashed and smashed with all this envy we have, and of course, God will come and smash that envy in one way or another. He will humble us. He will put that snake down. First, we will go up with the envy. And then when Krishna is dancing on it, we calm down and we lose our strength and we get bent out of shape. And then we go, oh, Krishna, Krishna Mahabaho, please, Krishna, help me, protect me. Okay, so yes, there is a difference between jealous and envy and wanting to serve somebody. But by the way, when we do serve somebody we admire, we naturally will be given with the qualities of that person, or even just appreciating that person, listening to that person. All these qualities will make us attract what we are admiring in them. So there's no need of separately wanting to work on developing something. Okay, I don't know if that helps. Then we have how to stop feeling left out in the society. Yeah, that's a hard feeling, right? Um, how to stop feeling left out. Look, you can't stop feeling anything. If you're feeling left out, you're feeling left out. You can't just stop it. It's not just some button you can just press and stop it. We must process it. We must see, what society do you want to be part of? Who are these people? What is the value system of these people? Why do you want to be part of that specific community or that specific group? Just because they are there? Or is it really because you want to imbibe the values of that group? Okay, so this is another important thing. Usually we want to belong and get fit in because of everybody else is doing it, and I don't want to look the odd one out. That's not the right way to grow. The right way to grow is to be clear about what you're looking for. This usually takes time. As we age, we become a little bit more conscious of what we're really looking for. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, another question by Sindhu. They say by doing social service, ladies can get more value and respect from others. Is this true? I'm not really sure. It sounds a little bit like a speculation. I don't know what exactly social service means, serving others, but depends. Are you serving others because you're trying to escape your own life and your reality? Are you doing social service by avoiding and taking care of your own family and your own needs? And are you nourishing yourself enough? Or are you trying to run away from yourself and just doing social service because you want to fit in and you want to get validation from others, you want to get respect? It all depends on your motivation. If you're going to do some social service because you want respect and be valued, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm sorry if I'm very straightforward, but it's a very tricky question. Okay, so it really depends on your intention. How can we live around, Geeta R is asking, how can we live around envious people positively? And how can we react good towards them even though we know they're envious about us? Well, do you have to live around envious people? That's the first question. If you can avoid, better. But sometimes if you cannot, yeah, it's hard. It's very hard. You have to balance out by having good association, good friends, have people who are not envious of you, so you can put less focus on those who are envious. And don't pretend to act good towards people who are envious just because that's the right, that's again, will get you acceptance. We should be careful. We should be careful with envious people because it may not be favorable for us. But Bhagavatam, in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the suggestion is, if they are better than us in some way, we appreciate, okay, they are better, they have this. And if they are very less than us in some way, we feel compassion. That's the way.